Welcome back to Spiritism 101. I'm Vanessa Anceloni, and I'm here with Luis Almeida. We are continuing our studies on Spiritism, and tonight we are going to discuss a little bit further about the elements of the universe. Last week, as we learned together, we got to know that Spiritism teaches us that there are two main elements created by God in the universe. One is spirit and the other one is matter. Spirit is defined as the intelligent principle of the universe, and matter, everything else that is not a spirit. But we stopped at the very point where we try to understand the different states, the different levels of matter. So we understand that there is a very subtle matter, which is what physics consider nowadays the quantum matter, and there is the very solid parts of matter, like a metal. We would like to understand how exactly Spiritism explains these different levels of matter. How can they be formed, and what is there an element that composes them all, or are there different essential elements in matter that would compose these different types of matter, Louis?
Yes, we experience in our days, in our everyday life, matter organized in different states. We experience, for example, a flower, and we experience, for example, a metal or a mineral. So when we think of matter, we think of these different transformations, of these different states of matter. So did God create matter in different states, or is something else the explanation for that? And the explanation that we see in the Spirit's book is that matter comes from a single fundamental structure, a single fundamental principle that's called the cosmic principle. So everything that we see in our everyday life, everything that we see, the flowers, the atoms, the metals, everything that we see and we experience is in fact a transformation, a combination of this different fundamental matter called the cosmic principle.
So in this case, Louis, when we talk about the spiritual realm, when Spiritism explains us about the spiritual realm, André Luiz mentions in his books that there is matter in the spiritual realm. But is that matter the same and composed by the same element that you just told us?
Matter in the spiritual realm is also a transformation from the cosmic principle, because it is matter. But it's matter organized, transformed in a way that we cannot detect, we cannot usually sense. And this is not a far-fetched idea. We can see that in our everyday life, for example, with water. Water, the same molecule of water, can be found in ice and can be found in the clouds in the sky. So ice is very solid, it's cold, but it is water. And the clouds in the sky are also water, but is very soft and floats in the air. So the matter, the buildings, the cities that André Luiz describes, they are also material elements. They are also transformations of the cosmic fluids.
So when we talk about this universal cosmic fluid, universal cosmic principle, which is this elementary matter in the universe, is there any scientific proof or correlation to that nowadays?
Well, that's a very interesting question that during the last century, during the 20th century, physics and physicists, they developed an ever more refined model of matter, of the atom. First, the atom was considered indivisible, then it was broken into protons, electrons, neutrons, and then it was ever more refined into the quarks and gluons and other particles. So it's very tempting to speculate, although it's not proved, it's very tempting to to speculate that physics one day will arrive on this fundamental particle, on this fundamental structure called the cosmic principle. And we will understand that all matter, everything else, from the atoms to everything else, is in fact a simple transformation of this cosmic principle. So maybe as our science progresses, we will arrive at this concept.
So back again to the definitions of spirit and matter, based on the Spiritist view. We know, as science says, that there is, astronomy specifically, says that between planets, stars and planets, there are what they call a void space. So how does Spiritism, if there are only two elements in the universe, what would this void be? Would the void exist? How does the Spiritism address this?
Well, we can always use our reason, as Kardec recommended to us, and understand the answer of the superior spirits, that if there are only two elements, spirit and matter, emptiness cannot exist. Otherwise, emptiness would be another element. So the void between planets, this empty space between stars and planets in the whole universe, is not really empty. It's in fact filled by matter in a state, in a transformation that we cannot detect, we cannot see. That's why the superior spirits say that emptiness does not exist. There is only matter on different combinations.
So today we can wrap up by saying that in the two elements of the universe we have a cooperation. That there is spirit, who are the intelligent beings of the universe, and there is matter as the principle, the material principle of the universe as well. And we understand that the element that unites them both is what Kardec named the universal cosmic principle. So next week, you're going to watch us discussing and learning together on what Kardec brings us on creation, the formation of the planets. Come back again next week and enjoy it with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And welcome again to Spiritism 101. We are going to discuss today a continuation of our previous week about matter and the elements of the universe. We saw last week that there are three elements of the universe: the spirit, and they are defined as the intelligent principle, and the matter, defined as everything else that surrounds the spirit. Together with these two elements, the spirit and matter, there is God, the Creator. However, we can think about that, and we experience in our daily life that matter comes on different forms. It has the soft touch of the flower and the cool and cold touch of the metal. So one question that poses to us is if God created different forms of matter, different forms of structures, or if He created something else. Kardec posed this question to the superior spirits during the codification, and the superior spirits answered that there is in fact one single material element, one single fundamental element that they define as the cosmic principle. All matter that we experience, the flowers, the buildings, the metal, the minerals, everything around us is in fact a transformation from the single and fundamental element called the cosmic principle. We can also see, for example, in books by Chico Xavier, very important Brazilian medium, through the spirit of André Luiz. When André Luiz describes the spiritual cities, he describes buildings, he describes structures in the spiritual world. So it's also very important to understand that this matter in the spiritual world is also matter as we understand it. It's also the material element is also a transformation of the cosmic principle. And how this can be, because we don't usually see the spiritual cities around us, the spiritual realm around us. Well, a very good example of that is with water. Water, the same molecule of water, can present itself in three states. It can present itself in ice, it can present itself in liquid form, as we call water, and it can present itself in vapor around us. So ice has totally different properties than the clouds on the sky, than vapor water. That's the same with matter. In one transformation, in one form of combination, the cosmic principle will present itself as the matter in the material world, as the matter in the world around us. On the other hand, in a different state, in a different combination, it will present itself as matter in the spiritual realm. That is as material to the spirits as the matter that is around us is material to us. This idea that all the material elements of the universe, all the forms of matter in the universe, comes from transformation of a single fundamental structure, the cosmic principle, it's very interesting to think of it in scientific terms. During the 20th century, physicists developed an ever more elaborate view of the atom. Initially, the atom was considered indivisible, and then it was broke into fundamental components, and today these fundamental components are broken down: protons and electrons and gluons and quarks and different particles. So it's very tempting to speculate, although this is not confirmed by any scientific form so far, it's very tempting to speculate that as physics evolve, as science evolves, we will eventually arrive as this cosmic principle, as this fundamental structure of matter. So that's something that we can wait for the next developments in science and technology, that it will confirm these finds of the cosmic principle. Now, if we understand that there are these two elements, the spirit's matter and God as the creator, something else that we can ask is, how about empty space? How about, for example, the empty space between stars or between planets? Kardec poses this question to superior spirits: if there is empty space, and the empty space between stars, the empty space in the universe. And the spirits answer that this, what we call empty space, cannot be empty, because if it were empty, then emptiness would be another element of the universe. And as there are only two elements, spirits and matter, emptiness does not exist. In fact, the space between the planets and the stars and all of this is in fact filled with matter in a different state that we cannot understand, that we cannot detect right now. So, for the chapter tonight, we must understand this: the existence of the spirit, the existence of matter as a transformation from a single unified principle called the cosmic principle, and as God as the creator. Thank you.